Assalamu alaikum and a very warm welcome. I am Sidra Iqbal and you're watching Dove Presents Real Beauty series. It's a Myco original and it is exclusively streaming on Myco. आज हम बात करेंगे that real beauty is all about celebrating the hero. And of course there's a hero in each one of us. और कई दफ़ा मुश्किल हालात या किसी क्राइसिस के बाद ही आपको पता चलता है that hero actually exists. किसी भी चैम्पियन को जब हम सेलिब्रेट करते हैं we find out about them winning a medal or a match, लेकिन उसकी स्टोरी शुरू होती है कई साल पहले when they have started to believe in that dream, जब उनको लगता है कि उनके अंदर वो सलाहियत, वो स्ट्रेंथ मौजूद है। हमारी आज की मेहमान, she is not just the captain of the women's football team in Pakistan, but she is a celebrated athlete who comes from a family of athletes. लेकिन इन्होंने अपने लिए एक बहुत ही मुख्तलिफ स्पोर्ट यानी फुटबॉल चुना। आज हम बात करेंगे कि her story began in the US where she was the NCAA Division I athlete और उसके बाद she further groomed her skills as a footballer in UAE. पाकिस्तान वो वापस आई with the Royal Eagles Football Club and very soon we saw her playing, actually leading the women's football team in Pakistan. हम बात कर रहे हैं of the wonderful Maria Jamila Khan and beauty is her middle name, so I'm really excited about this conversation. How are you, Maria?
Alhamdulillah. Thank
कभी
you
आपने
so
सोचा
much
था
for
आप real
having me.
beauty की बात करेंगी and your middle name is literally about being the beautiful one.
Yeah, so I think, it's great to have that name, but I think what's great about that is that beauty comes in so many different ways. So really excited to talk about that.
Tell me something, 3 different countries where you trained as a footballer, you played, and I'm sure these are 3 different stages and phases of your life as well. I'm sure there's a beauty in each of the phases, but which one did you enjoy the most?
I think for me, so now it's been 4. So my 4th one has been Saudi Arabia now.
Okay.
But I think for me, the most beauty, of course, has come from Pakistan and my experience in playing here and representing my country. Again, everyone, like you said, has its beauty, but I think for me with Pakistan, just the fact that it's so raw, so untouched, so untapped, but has probably the most potential that I've seen out of any other country that
Maria,
I've
the
played in.
amazing thing, the mind-boggling thing is कि मुझे पता चला आप बिल्कुल उर्दू बोलती नहीं हैं, उर्दू समझ लेती हैं, and you're leading a team जिसमें diverse पाकिस्तान के मुख्तलिफ इलाकों से, शहरों से, तबकों से, there are girls there, there are women athletes there. How do you lead them?
Yeah, it's been a challenging, right? And I think it's something that has taken me time to grow into, right? I've made mistakes leading the team. I've messed up. I've learned from those mistakes, but I think what's been so special is that I've had a group of young girls and women that have supported me throughout the way and helped me identify my leadership style, which growing up and playing football for a very long time, I've seen so many different leadership styles and working in an office, right? And living that corporate life. I also saw a lot of different management styles. So I think for me to be able to kind of pick up best practices from the different places and different experiences I've had and try to create my own style has been challenging. But I think having that support group around me to allow me to make mistakes, allow me to be vulnerable, has been such a beautiful opportunity and beautiful experience.
I think that is wonderful. और जितने हमारे viewers हैं जो नापाकिफ़ हैं, मारिया खेलती थी NCAA Division I के लिए, which is the National Collegiate for Athletics Association in the US, highest level university students के लिए अगर वो किसी भी sport को pursue करना चाहते हैं. And I'm sure it came with its own set of challenges, Maria. I mean, looking back at those days, coming from a Pakistani family, you had a different set of rule books.
Yeah.
Did you have a stricter curfew growing up?
Yeah, I needed to be home before the sunset.
है ना? तो अब जो खेलना है मगरिब से पहले खेलना है, दुनिया के किसी भी हिस्से में रहें आप.
Yeah.
This is a gone.
And
this is
even
a rule.
going like on away trips, for example, right? When the team would travel to a different state or to a different city and have to spend the night, I wasn't allowed to spend the night outside.
And when did that change?
I think once my family realized that I would be able to get a scholarship to play in university and get an education whilst playing football, right? Because the school I went to, there's no way my family, we would have been able to afford to go to that school without some help. So I think once my parents realized they'd be able to save some money, they're like, go play.
You know, personally, I can relate to that because growing up and in my college days, I was a debater and public speaker. I distinctly remember there was this one All Pakistan Championship जो कि लाहौर में हो रही थी, Government College of Lahore की. And it was the first time as a 15-year-old I had to represent my college. And my biggest worry was not कि मैं वहाँ पे जीतूंगी या नहीं जीतूंगी या मैं select कैसे होंगी. I was like, will my dad let me go? And I'm sure a lot of girls can relate to that. Or over the years, Maria, I've realized that it is not that they are against our dreams. It's their way of showing love and being protective.
Yes.
Right? Did you have an honest heart-to-heart conversation with the family when you wanted things to change and you wanted to go? I mean, I'm sure it's just not about, okay, she has a shot at getting a scholarship. It was also about your own passion for football.
No, absolutely. I think once my family realized, how important it was to me and how it made me feel.
Yeah.
Right? Every time I step out on that field, there's that sense of empowerment. There's that sense of freedom where I have the privilege to be myself on the field. And I think that's one of the reasons what draws me to football. And once my parents saw that and they saw how passionate I was and they saw how committed I was and they saw that, okay, I could still be, a good Muslim, I could still, be a good daughter, I could still be, respectful, they're like slowly came along, right? Of course, you get the elders in the family, I come home with the bruises and stuff and they're like, who's gonna wanna marry you? Little did they know I found a husband that's more crazy about football than me. So it was progressive, right? And even though I come from a sports family, on my mom's side, again, there's still challenges there for the females in the family, and I had opportunities and scholarship offers to play in different states.
I want to go back to what you just said, and for a lack of a better word, I like to call it the switch. Because अगर आप किसी भी competitive sport या activity में participate करते हैं, आपकी एक normal personality होती है, आपके दोस्त समझते हैं कि आप हंसी मजाक करते हैं, whatever, यानी जो भी आपकी एक normal family personality है. But then when you're playing that sport or when you're in a competition, you make a complete switch. You have found your purpose, आप ज़्यादा confident होते हैं, आप बड़े एतमाद के साथ perform कर रहे होते हैं. And very often my friends, when I used to be debating, they're like, who is this person? Do I even know you?
They didn't recognize you.
Do you get that when you're on the field?
Absolutely.
And do you feel that when you're on the field? यानी वो जो एक confidence होता है, that sense of freedom, that sense of purpose, it changes you for the better.
It really does. And I think, again, one of the reasons why I love football so much is, I had a lot of insecurities growing up. And to be able to go out onto the pitch, it was a way where it helped me get my confidence back, or get me confidence that I didn't know I had, right? When I start performing. And as you mentioned, like it's almost like that alter ego,
yes.
Right? You create this personality for yourself on the field or, whatever space you're competing in. And it brings this sense of empowerment. It brings this sense of, bravery that, again, you didn't think you ever had or that you were capable of. So yeah, definitely here for the switch.
So hard to imagine at this point in time and looking at this version of you. But Maria, let's deep dive into that. What were the things that made you insecure?
Not saying this just because we're here with Dove, but literally body confidence, right? How I looked and felt in my, playing uniforms, right? It was something that, I wasn't confident in, right? Because again, I had these insecurities. And I think over time, once I grew up and, I was no longer, a young girl playing, and I didn't have this picture of what I thought the perfect athlete looked like. And, social media and all this stuff that's constantly in your face, right? It helps you. It can help you, but it can also not help you in, formulating what you think your idea of the perfect athlete is. And I think over time and, doing a lot of self-work and really trying to understand where those insecurities were being rooted from, did I really then understand that, what? My body is strong. I am strong. My mind is strong, and I am beautiful, and I can still be beautiful and be feminine and be an athlete and be strong and be brave and, be fearless, be a fearless competitor, but still have that confidence and that, feminine side that I like to, put out there.
Can you remember the first time somebody looked at you and told you that you're beautiful?
Oh, wow. That's a powerful question. You know what? I think that's maybe something I didn't hear enough of growing up. And I think maybe that's something that would have maybe helped the confidence. Yeah, I don't think it was until a lot later.
Top 3 people you love the most?
Mom, dad, husband, sister. Like, it's hard to husband, sister,
Very
brother.
strategic. Very strategic.
Husband, sister, brother, auntie. There's a lot of people up there. I think, yeah, it's difficult. But I think everyone has their role, right? And I think everyone has played a role in my development and my success. And I think that's something that also helps confidence, right? Is that core group that you keep around you and the company that you keep around you, right? Those people are your biggest fans, right? I believe you should be your biggest fan, right? No one should believe in you more than yourself. But I do believe that having a solid core group around you that is there for the right reasons is something that really helps drive confidence, or at least it has for me.
Again, वही वाली बात ना कि हम अपने साथ सबसे ज़्यादा वक्त गुजारेंगे. We are all looking for a soulmate, we are looking for best friends, we are looking for that support in other people. But the real beauty is to be able to see it within ourselves. Be your own cheerleader. If you need one person to cheer for you, that person is always there in the mirror, right?
I needed to hear this.
Thank you.
This came at the perfect time, so thank you.
But tell me something. I think when I look at Pakistani athletes, some of them really shine when it's an individual sport. जब आप हैं और आप ही, field के राजा हैं, and nobody depends on you, you just have to perhaps, do your best. But when it comes to football, the magic is that you have to come together as a team. Is it a challenge when it comes to the Pakistani team?
Yeah, I think with any team in general, right? When you bring a collective and a group of people together that have had so many different backgrounds, who have had so many different experiences, and you try to get them to work towards one goal and one objective, for me, that's something that I believe is one of the hardest things to do in a team, is to create that environment and to create that team culture, because it can go one or two ways, right? You can either create a positive culture or a toxic culture. And I think for me, if you can find that balance where you strike it and you get everyone bought in, the amazing things that can happen with that group of people is unreal and unimaginable. Like, you can achieve so much if you can get people bought in and believing in what you're trying to achieve together.
That's so true. What's your nick on the field? I mean, आपका जो different style of leadership है, sometimes you're aggressive, sometimes you'll be calm and mentoring. I'm sure you have a nick. I'm sure that there are terms of endearment that your teammates have for you.
Yeah, I think for me, my leadership style, I like to believe I'm someone that likes to empower, and I like to lead from the back. Right? I'm not necessarily the type of person or the type of leader that needs to be in the front, leading from, the front line the whole time, because I do believe that there are certain things, certain elements of the game and certain elements of life that my teammates are better than me at. So if someone is better than me, please, you go do this, I'll follow your lead, right? And I think as we all start to understand our roles within the team, that's where that culture, that's where that beauty starts to really flourish and come together.
अच्छा, game day itself has its own set of anxiety, right? तभी मेरे लगता है कि पाकिस्तान वो वाहिद मुल्क है जहाँ पे हमने गाना बनाया बाकायदा कि तुम जीतो या हारो, हमें तुमसे प्यार है. हमें रिमाइंड कराना पड़ता है. Because when the players win, we are over the moon. We want to worship them, and that's a lot of hero worship, right? But when they've had a bad day or a bad season or a bad match, I mean, I shudder to think, sometimes when I'm reading the comments, the kind of memes, the kind of nasty comments which are coming through, मुझे लगता है यार ये बेचारे कैसे सुन के what's going on inside. What do you do when you lose a match? Do you not read the comments? क्या करती हो?
Yeah, so I learned this very quickly playing for Pakistan, is stay out of the comments.
What you do is not easy, Maria. लेकिन मैं हमेशा से एथलीट से पूछना चाहती थी कि ट्रेनिंग, डिसिप्लिन, इसके साथ साथ जो दूसरी सैक्रिफाइसेस होती हैं. Like for example, I identify as a foodie. So I love my spicy, चटपटा, high calorie, deep fried food. Do you have to let it all go? Like, be honest.
There needs to be balance,
Fine.
right? It does. Again, it has to be sustainable. And also, for me, in my experience, if you did want to cut fat or if you did want to get stronger faster, during the season is not the right time to do it, right? Because during the season, you're back to back to back to back, right? With fixtures and games, and just the load is a lot when you're in season. So again, all of the cuts and everything that need to happen and the improvements actually happen in the off season.
Yes.
You know, which is that time, maybe 2 weeks, 10 days after your season finishes, after your body's recovered from the load it just took during the season. Once you kind of get to that resetted, neutral state, that's when you really start putting yourself through the paces and you start focusing.
My question is, when do you get to have the pani puri? When does the golgappa come in?
Personally, I would have it after I've played a game.
Okay.
That's an
after,
okay
after
time.
The game,
Yes, after the game is an okay time to have it.
Okay. And do you miss the biryanis and the kadhais?
Always. Always. For me, it was the chini paratas.
Spoken like a true Pashtun, right?
Yeah, the chini
the
paratas
chini
with
paratha
the
is so
chai.
important.
That was the ones. Those are the ones I missed, especially when Grandma would make them.
And how would you exclaim seeing it in Pashto when you get something that you really have
Zamazra kigi. Zramikigi
इसका क्या मतलब होता है?
is my heart is yearning for it.
Wow, wow. The only Pashto I know is Tofak Sama Kanun De. My gun is my law.
Oh my God.
And that is thanks to my friend Sarvat Gilani. When he played one of these characters, तो उसकी वजह से मेरे ज़हन में रह गया, and that's the only Pashto I know. But I'm sure it also puts you in that state of mind. I find it very inspiring when I see committed, determined women like yourself who know what they want and who are making the sacrifices. Like, it's not easy what you've just shared with us, having a corporate career, moving countries 3 times, 4 times. Right now, you're playing for a country, you're playing for a club. How do you manage to do that? What keeps you going?
My why, right? Why am I doing this? You know, I think for me, having that passion and understanding it, which I hadn't always had, like, it's been such a long journey up until this point to really figure out what it is that I enjoy doing and what I really, want to do. And I think for me, people might say it's cheesy or corny or whatever, but for me, I genuinely do believe the talent that we have as female athletes in this country. There's so much talent and not even just athletes, just so much female talent sitting in this country that goes unrecognized. Not just because of the cultural challenges, but again, the infrastructure, the resources. Like, I think a lot of it is so systemically and deeply rooted that there's so much talent that is just going unnoticed. And for me, having grown up in the US and having access and having resources and having a pathway, right, that my parents I could try to get them to buy into, and then coming, to Pakistan or Saudi or, the UAE and seeing that there is the potential, there is the talent. It's just the opportunity. So if we can find that balance where opportunity meets the talent, then I think the world is in for a rude awakening when they see how much talent we can get out of this country.
Maria, aakhir mein, I want you to give a message to the parents who unfortunately don't believe. Like, there are girls who have amazing talent as athletes, but they're having a hard time convincing the parents. What will you tell those parents?
I tell them to trust their daughter and trust the work that they've done in raising their child and what she's asking to do. If it is to play a sport, her playing that sport has the opportunity and the potential to teach her so much, not only about life lessons, but about herself. It has the opportunity, sport, I genuinely believe, has the opportunity to instill such belief and confidence in yourself to where when you ask a young woman or a young girl who are the 3 people she loves the most, that she's number 1 on that list.
That is so beautiful. And I think that is so profound as well, especially when it comes to the parents. I mean, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि इतना हमारी जो इंटरनल डायलॉग होती है ना, वो सारी वही बातें हैं जो हमने बचपन में सुनी हैं. अगर आपको लगता है कि आपके बाल प्यारे नहीं हैं या आपकी रंगत अच्छी नहीं है, these are things that unfortunately we were conditioned to believe in our childhood. So I feel all the parents out there Please start appreciating your daughter's real beauty. जब बच्ची तैयार होके आती है आप उसको ये ना बोले बहुत प्यारी गुड़िया जैसी लग रही हो. Please compliment her on her other attributes, when she's kind, when she's compassionate, when she's brave, when she's fearless, because that is the mark of real beauty, when you're truly determined. But thank you so much, Maria. And you've put, I started this conversation by telling you that beauty is your real name, but I must end by acknowledging that real beauty is your middle name. So thank you very much for being here with us. और मेरे तमाम देखने वालों को, if you are getting moved by these real beauty series and conversations, to give us your feedback, because this is a Myco exclusive and I'm thoroughly enjoying these conversations and I hope that you are as well. Until next time, take good care of yourself. Khuda Hafiz.